Frost giants stand as some of the most compelling and enduring figures in mythology and popular culture, embodying the raw power of winter and the eternal struggle between order and chaos. These massive beings have captivated human imagination for over a millennium, from their origins in ancient Norse tales to their prominent roles in contemporary fantasy gaming. Their persistent presence across such diverse contexts reveals something fundamental about how humans conceptualize the forces of nature, particularly the cold and hostile elements that have threatened survival throughout history. Understanding frost giants requires examining not only their mythological roots, but also how they have been reimagined and transformed by modern storytellers and game designers. Physically, frost giants are typically depicted as towering humanoid creatures of immense size and strength, often standing between 15 and 25 feet tall in most interpretations. Their skin is described as having a blue or pale white coloration, sometimes appearing translucent like ice itself, with a texture that suggests both the hardness of frozen water and the roughness of glacial formations. Their hair and beards, when present, are usually portrayed as white, silver, or pale blue, often seeming to be covered in frost or actually composed of ice crystals. Many depictions emphasize their massive builds, with thick limbs and barrel chests that convey their supernatural strength and resilience to cold environments that would kill ordinary beings. Their eyes are frequently described as a piercing blue or white, glowing with an inner cold light that reflects their connection to winter's harshest aspects. Behavior of frost giants in traditional lore portrays them as aggressive, warlike beings who harbor deep enmity toward the gods and humanity alike. They are characteristically depicted as raiding and pillaging, seeking to expand their frozen domains and destroy the ordered world that stands against them. Despite their violent tendencies, frost giants are not mindless brutes, but possess cunning intelligence and the ability to forge weapons, build fortresses, and form complex social hierarchies within their icy kingdoms. Their culture values strength and martial prowess above all else, with leadership typically determined through combat and demonstrations of power. They are also shown to be capable of magic, particularly spells related to ice, snow, and winter weather, which they use both in battle and to maintain their frigid territories. In Norse mythology, frost giants, or jötnar, occupy a central role as the primordial enemies of the Aesir gods and represent the chaotic forces that existed before the ordered cosmos. The very first being in Norse cosmology was Ymir, a frost giant whose body was used by Odin and his brothers to create the world, with his flesh becoming the earth, his blood the seas, and his bones the mountains. The frost giants dwell primarily in Jotunheim, one of the 9 worlds, a realm of eternal winter and harsh landscapes where they plot against the gods of Asgard. Throughout Norse mythology, the frost giants engage in constant conflict with the gods, culminating in the prophecy of Ragnarok, where they will join forces with other enemies of the gods to bring about the end of the world. Interestingly, the relationship between gods and giants is more complex than simple opposition, as several gods have giant ancestry and there are instances of intermarriage between the two groups. While frost giants are most prominently featured in Norse mythology, similar beings associated with ice, cold, and winter appear in various other cultural traditions around the world. In Inuit mythology, the Mahaha is a terrifying demon that dwells in the Arctic cold and attacks travelers with its icy touch, tickling victims to death before freezing their bodies in grotesque positions. Japanese folklore includes the Yuki-onna, or Snow Woman, a ghostly female figure associated with winter storms who appears beautiful but deadly, capable of freezing people with her breath and draining their life force in blizzards. Slavic mythology features winter spirits and frost demons, including Morozko or Father Frost, who can be both benevolent and cruel depending on how he is treated, rewarding the kind and freezing the wicked in his icy grasp. The Wendigo from Algonquian folklore, while not precisely a giant, is a malevolent spirit or creature associated with winter, famine, and cannibalism, depicted as growing larger with each victim it consumes and embodying the terror of starvation during harsh winters. These diverse traditions suggest that cultures exposed to severe winter conditions independently developed mythological beings to personify the deadly aspects of cold, demonstrating a universal human tendency to give form and character to natural forces that threaten survival. In Dungeons and Dragons, frost giants have been extensively developed as one of the 6 types of true giants, occupying the 4th position in the Ordning, the social hierarchy that governs giant society. These creatures are typically depicted as standing around 21 feet tall and weighing approximately 8,000 pounds, with light blue or dirty white skin and pale blue or yellow hair and eyes. Frost giants in D&D are lawful evil by nature, dwelling in frozen castles built from ice and stone in Arctic or subarctic regions, where they organize themselves into strict military-style clans ruled by jarls who maintain power through combat prowess and cunning. They are formidable combatants with exceptional strength, the ability to hurl massive boulders with deadly accuracy, and innate immunity to cold damage, making them particularly dangerous in their native environments where they can leverage weather to their advantage. The game has expanded their lore significantly over multiple editions, depicting them as raiders who value martial strength and plunder, often keeping slaves and tribute from weaker races, while also establishing complex relationships with winter wolves and other cold-dwelling creatures that serve them. D&D frost giants maintain their own culture complete with runic writing, crafted weapons and armor, and a particular fondness for jewelry and treasures looted from their raids, combining the savage warrior archetype with elements of sophisticated, if brutal, civilization. Modern gaming has embraced frost giants enthusiastically, adapting them into countless role-playing games, video games, and fantasy settings where they serve as formidable adversaries and imposing obstacles. In Dungeons and Dragons, frost giants are classified as one of the giant types in the Ordning, a strict social hierarchy among giantkin, where they rank in the middle tiers and rule over domains of ice and snow. Video games like Skyrim feature frost giants as rare but dangerous enemies inhabiting the frozen peaks and tundras of the game world, often guarding valuable treasures or ancient sites. Many modern games have expanded on the traditional depiction by giving frost giants more nuanced motivations, sometimes portraying them as tragic figures defending their dying homelands, or as noble warriors with their own codes of honor. The gaming industry has particularly emphasized the visual spectacle of frost giants, using advanced graphics to create breathtaking designs that showcase their icy nature through special effects like frost auras, frozen breath weapons, and the ability to summon blizzards. Various theories have emerged regarding the cultural and psychological significance of frost giants across different interpretations and scholarly analyses. Some anthropologists and folklorists suggest that frost giants represent the personification of winter itself, embodying the very real dangers that cold weather and ice pose to ancient Scandinavian peoples who struggle to survive harsh winters. From a psychological perspective, frost giants might symbolize the chaotic, untamed aspects of nature that civilization must constantly struggle against, representing humanity's fear of regression into a wild, frozen state, devoid of warmth and community. Literary scholars have proposed that the enduring appeal of frost giants in modern fantasy reflects a collective anxiety about climate and environmental forces beyond human control, though this interpretation reverses the traditional association by sometimes casting frost giants as victims of a warming world. Others have analyzed frost giants as representing outsider status and otherness, beings who live at the margins of civilization and threaten the established order simply by existing in their alien, inhospitable domains. From the Poetic Edda and the Prose Edda, which were written in the Middle Ages, to Romantic-era revivals and modern popular culture, how Norse myths, including the figure of frost giants, were understood has changed a lot. Large-scale studies of Old Norse mythology and looks at how giants are portrayed in modern writing and media show this path. These sources talk about how modern writers and artists reinterpret giants in new ways that are ideological or artistic, but they still use medieval sources for classic themes. Frost giants continue to capture our imagination precisely because they embody primal forces that remain relevant across centuries and cultures. From the ancient Norse who feared the literal cold that could claim lives during winter to modern audiences who encounter them in games and stories, these creatures represent something eternal about the human relationship with nature's harsher aspects. Their evolution from mythological antagonists to complex characters in modern media demonstrates how archetypal figures can be adapted while retaining their essential power and meaning. Whether depicted as mindless destroyers or sophisticated civilizations with their own rich cultures, frost giants remind us that some mythological concepts possess an enduring resonance that transcends their original context and speaks to fundamental human experiences and fears.